Hey there, Niiamah here, and I'm really excited to be a part of this conversation with you. Before we got started, I got a chance to really reflect on what would make this a powerful conversation for myself first. And I had to ask that question about what would make it powerful for me because I've recognized that as we go down this path of choosing to be trailblazers, to do go to places no one else has been, at least we haven't been, and to be one of the first, one of the only, and one of a kind in the impact that we make in the way that we show up. There's an element here of not settling for the status quo, not just on a macro scale, but in our own individual lives or in our business, not settling for the way things had been or the way that things are. And instead, choosing to once again blaze a new trail to go out into a place that is unknown, that's uncharted. And that leads to something, actually, it leads to ourselves more than anything else. And that's edgy for me to say. I recognize that it might sound like just a statement, but it's edgy for me to say because right now in my journey, being as blunt or upfront with the true with stating that the true path of courage is the one that is the path that only you and you alone can walk still feels uncomfortable for me. You might see me, you might another date and it just like rolls off my tongue and everyone's like, yes, of course, why else would we be here? But for today, that feels like a radical idea. It feels like a radical idea to say that I'm here to actually be your Sherpa as you discover more of yourself and make more income, make more influence, and make more impact as a result of that. That's what I want to be saying. That's what I've been trying to say. And for some, and it may even seem as though I have been saying it, but I will tell you I've not been able to own it, not to the level that I feel is really called for the level of impact, income, and influence that I'm searching for and that I know I can create. And so throughout this conversation, I want to make sure that we are leading and walking down a courageous path. For me, it's going to be bringing in more of the intersection of exactly what it is that I'm about. I love finding out when people have created something unconventional success, and then saying, how do we not settle and actually take on the next mountain or the next journey that continues on from there? So with that here, we'll use that as a little bit of context for today. I'm going to be upfront, and the place I'm going to challenge myself is to really allow us to see what makes us distinct along this way. How can we be even more? If we're going to be one of the only along the way, if we're going to be one of the first along the way, if we're going to be one of a kind in the things that we do and the impact that we have and the services that we bring and the teams that we lead and the way that we lead it, how can we hone in even more on what makes us distinct? Because in that way, we have a monopoly on so many other things.
Mm.
So today we get to play. We get to play. We get to play with two phenomenal people who really who said that they're down to go on this uncharted journey here. They've Today we get to play with Philippa and Beata, and we're gonna see where this conversation goes. Let me. There's no agenda. And my invitation to you all once again is that please be selfish or at least self-interested throughout here. Um, this is just a conversation for us, and we'll make it whatever it needs to be, so that you're truly served. In one word, based on anything that's happened, maybe before we pushed record, before you even got into this conversation, or anything that's been said so far, in one word, what is alive within you at this time? And the answer could be nothing, right? So let's start with Philippa, then we'll go to Beata, and then I'll get us continuing down our path.
Okay. Nervous.
Mm, thank you, and welcome to the room,
Mm.
Beata.
Curiosity.
Fantastic. It's great to have you here. I love this here because I do believe that there's an element of speaking ourselves into the room that's important. I want you to have had voice within here. And then let's see where we do with that voice. Like curiosity, a little bit of wonder also plays out for me. So I was thinking about how I wanted to kick things off today, and I felt that it was important for me to move a step closer toward the true intersection of what's courageous for me, so we can all play in a place that we may not know. The question that comes to mind here that I'd love to ask you here is this: what makes you interesting? What makes you interesting? Take some time on that. If either of you have an answer here, go ahead and unmute yourself and let us know. We'll do one here, and then we'll just see where that goes. What makes you interesting?
I stick out. I have immense positive energy that people feel, and you know, you meet me and you know it. You can feel it. I think Beata felt it at the beginning when we had a few exchanges of words. Yeah, and that really makes me different. And it's a strength. It can attract people to me, and it can also scare people away from me. It can flatten people that don't know really what to do with that energy. I take space when I come into a room, but I don't necessarily take space away from anyone else. So that makes me unique, that I'm keen to include and lift and encourage and hear and see others in the room. So there's me. I think that's why I stick out.
I'm looking forward to playing with that here today. Take up as much space as you want. You're with the space creator. I create space. So like go in, take yours. Let's play with that, and I invite you to have that be a contribution to our conversation today. Beata, how about you? What makes you interesting?
What makes me interesting? I suppose this, that I'm doing stuff that others don't go for, and I persist simply until I get stuff done.
Make that real for me here. Maybe bring in one thing that you're going for right now that others don't go for, or just help bring that down to earth for me.
It's already a ridiculous example, I suppose, but I persisted enough to get the business set up in Qatar, even though it was very difficult, but I still managed this. And I am in the third year now, and every single year I'm making it happen. I am the first woman who has the 100% owned company here. I think this is something that makes me interesting for many people.
I want to acknowledge that. This is what I want to bring into this room here, right? I get really curious immediately about what it takes, what your path is, such that you can come and be the first woman that has had to have 100% fully owned business out here. I acknowledge you for that, all right? And I see who I'm talking to immediately. Thank you for bringing that into this room. Beata, how can I serve you? Let's do this even further. I love to create play spaces where possibility is what drives us more than problems. Being in the space of, we can address problems. I'm not afraid of that at all. And we don't need to let that go altogether. But that's not our driving force. It's not the reason that we're here. We're not just here to solve problems. Like we can do that, right? We're here to create new possibilities, to create that which would not have come to life had we not had this shared time together. So what is the possibility that we can serve you through here? What's the possibility that you're working toward right now?
Yeah, so I would want to expand my business And I was already thinking about moving part of it or maybe all of it to the Emirates soon. Conquer the next market, probably, kind of. and I want it to be a business, not the single person company. So for me, it would be interesting to explore a little bit, who do I have to become to be able to do that?
Absolutely. Let's play a little bit here. Philippa, I'm going to spend some time on Beata here for a bit, but you know, keep your channels open here for whatever you might see. I might come to you and ask here, but let's navigate this here. Who do you need to become? I love the question. I love that. It's not what do you need to do? Who do you need to become? Tell me who, like, I think I need to ask this question before we go further. Why is that? Why is it important to you?
First of all, I do not want to be a one-person company. I think I am made for something bigger. I am here for some more. I don't know. I'm playing with this idea at the moment, and I think that because I have so many interests, because I have so much knowledge, because I have so much to share, to give to people, I just need help. And to be able to share what I want to share, to be able to bring what I want to bring to the world, I simply need bigger vehicle for it. So I want to build this vehicle.
Fantastic. I realize as we're talking here, what I'm looking to do in this part for just a little bit, just to get a chance of the external journey that you're looking to get. What's the external possibility? And I hear the question as the internal, which is exactly where I want to focus. So you're creating this vehicle. You want to create a business, you say, as opposed to just being you. Just give me a sense here. If you and I were just talking in 3 years' time, and you're like, this vehicle has been running, you know, for years right now, and you have this business that you're looking to create, and it's in whatever locations you choose to put your footprint, because you got it like that, right? You're the first in so many different areas. Tell me about what this business would look like, what this vehicle would look like here, just to get a sense of this.
In how much time?
In 30 seconds.
No, and how long do I have to?
How much time you have? Let's just have this conversation 3 years from now, right?
Okay.
So do me a favor. Let's talk about it. Talk about it in the present tense. Like, it's 3 years from now, all right? And you're giving me a call. And you're like, hey, just want to let you know that my life has been awesome, and that and continue on from there.
So I'm calling you.
Yep.
In Singapore, hopefully.
Yes.
Hi, Niiamah. How about we dinner tonight? Do you have time for me?
I have time. I have like the time and the space for you. Awesome. And the energy. Let's do this.
Awesome. So let's meet for this dinner, and then I will tell you about my business.
Yes.
What all happened since our conversation.
Great. If that's the case, I would like Italian for tonight.
Sounds good. I even know the perfect place.
Fantastic.
All right. So what all happened? And you will not believe it. First of all, I have a full business freedom. Means I am in Singapore now for a month, so we can have Italian tonight, and we can have some other food in a couple of days or whatever. Because my business is working as I wanted it to work, and I only do the stuff that I like to do, which is coaching and training others. And all the rest is working as it should, and I don't have to worry. I can rely on my beautiful team. We are more like family than as a people working together. They all have part of the company, so they are doing well. They are well off, all of us. And I'm here just spending some time in Singapore. Next, I will probably be in Portugal for a month.
I'm glad you made time here along this way here. What else do you need to tell me?
What else do we? Okay, so we are out of the Middle East. And we live in Portugal, actually. So we have the house that I told you about on the shore. And I have my dog.
Fantastic. Thank you for giving us a glimpse. Thank you for giving us a glimpse of this possibility that you're creating. And as time goes on, if it continues to enrich, let us know even more, right? What's the question that lies on your heart with who you need to become to bring that possibility to life as we're here in this moment?
I think it's a lot to do. It has a lot to do with the team, with bringing right people together.
Have you, I'm really resonating with this. The last 6 months in particular has been me really spending time slowing down and bringing on a team. In fact, even bringing you into this conversation was like the first time I'm like, okay, let me utilize a team member to help organize this conversation as opposed to being me. And it felt great to just come in, look at my calendar and be like, oh, I got to talk to 2 awesome people today. And then just jump into this conversation. I'm going through a journey right now around bringing out a team here. So tell me here, bringing on the right people. I really want to get to like, what's the edge in this for you? Like, cause I know I'm talking to the person who's the first woman to have 100% fully owned business where she is, right? And so there's a lot in my mind. It's like, you know how to jump through hoops, you know how to go through places to get to open up doors that wouldn't normally be opened up for you. So I want to make sure that I'm understanding for you. And I don't take that lightly. I know that, I just know that there's a part that's within it. It's not just go out and do it. I want to understand for you, given that that is something that you do, right? And something that you have done. Where is the edge in building out this team for you as you feel it in this moment?
I think I want to have more impact. Mm-hmm. And because I am busy with busyness and doing stuff that is taking a lot of energy, life out of me, I have no time for the important stuff. For me, important stuff. It might be important for this person that will be working for me, but it's not important for me. So if I have a team that is really reliable, I will get a lot of free space to be able to really go into my zone, my flow.
Tell me a little bit more about this free space here. That sounds actually quite lovely. This free space. Tell me a little more about that you're creating for yourself.
Yeah. So I think the busyness, the busy stuff, this is easy for me because if I get into something, it's done. I am a doer and it's going forward quite fast and all. The problem is that it's always more and more and more and more. And I want to have less, like this is my space, it should go for me. So I have this open horizon for myself somehow, and I can breathe and I can rely on somebody. And if I have this free space for myself, I'm more creative also, I think. And it comes to everything because I have tons of ideas. This is another thing actually that will be the big win if I get the team. I have tons of ideas, but I am not the person who is finishing stuff. So I need the opposite of me, kind of finisher or implementer. So if I say something, okay, this is how I would imagine me to myself that it could work and it would be great that there is someone who picks it up, understands me well, and then goes forward with it.
Fantastic. Okay. I'm seeing things here. Yeah, I am really tempted to just go in and be like, okay, who do you need on your team? Let's go forward and dive in and make sure we get this here. And I'm going to go follow something in my intuition really quickly here. because as you're talking, I'm realizing that the team that you're looking to build is part of the solution. But it's not the actual possibility that you're looking to create. If I'm getting you right here, the actual possibility you're looking to create is this free space to be creative, free space to expand. I saw you take your hand and it was kind of like I'm doing, and it's almost like you're moving in this one corridor, but like you're really looking to just be able to be expansive and be able to be like whatever is necessary. And you're just like, I'm not restricted to one area. My platform, I have a platform where things can come out. I have the space to be creative. I like so on and so forth. Am I like point me in the right direction if I'm off here?
Totally. I want to be able to do many things.
Yeah, the space to do many things, and also the almost like if I'm getting this right, like the knowledge, the confidence, the knowing that like you can keep starting up things and they will get finished. It just doesn't need to be you.
That's exactly the point.
Okay. Yeah, I get that. There's a thing I often say on my team. I'm usually like, Niiamah.ashong.com needs to be blah. Like that's the business. Niiamahashong.com needs to be consistent. I would tell you this: Niiamah Ashong is not consistent. It's my 34th out of 34 strengths. You know, so like I'm like it's still a strength, but it is the last one out of the entire list, right? Niiamahashong.com needs to be consistent. So I'm feeling you here. The question I have, the reason I want to make sure my intuition is this. My intuition is what, like, in what order does this come, right? Is it I'm going to be busy, and I'm busy as I create my team, and then hopefully the team comes, and then all of a sudden this free space shows up, which is what I think it feels like the order is right now. And part of me wants to challenge that. And because in my mind, I'm like, will she just get busy with the team? As I'm building out a team right now, I realize that like it takes a lot of time to build out that platform. It takes a lot of time to onboard. It takes a lot of, and the ideas that I have, oh my gosh, it's so freeing to be like, we should do this. And then all of a sudden it's like busy on trying to make that come to life. And the free space that I like there's a lot of that's happening, but like there's more. What I'm hearing from you is you're like, I want to do more doing, you know, but I want to make sure that that's not, that we're creating the space in advance for you such that the free space, it's almost like if we can get you the free space already, it almost feels to me like the team would grow as a necessity, as opposed to the team being a prerequisite for you having the free space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I will add to it that I think 2020 was my year of doing. Mm-hmm. And I don't want it anymore. So one by one, I definitely want to speed it up.
Okay. So I want to acknowledge you for opening up for support here. I really want to acknowledge that. We're going to go to Philippa in just a bit, because I want to just give a little bit of space on this here. But the idea for me would be, you asked the question, who do I need to become? And the question I would ask you is, who do you need to become to actually allow yourself to take free space this week? Just to even practice that this week. We don't need to get into the biata of running a team. We can talk about like specific things around that at some point there. But there's something in here that's like, it's like there's enough that's already there. I want to see, even if we helped you build what you think you want here, would you as you are right now actually take advantage of all that comes along with it, especially in the world of free space? So I want to just like, I'm going to go to Philippa for a little bit here. I'd love to ask you that question. Who do you need to become to actually allow that free space to take place? And if it helps, look at it for just the next week. If next week, because you want 2021 to be different in 2020. I don't want to wait until December 31st for 2021 to be different in 2020, right? If next week you are going to be that person, the next week was just one snapshot of your life, with or without the team, spend time thinking about what free space would look like for you there. And then we'll come back to you at the end of this. All right. Awesome. Thank you, Beata. Philippa, We're going to play for a bit here. It's interesting coming over to this conversation because I love spending time with people one-on-one, and I'm like, oh, I'm feeling a bit incomplete, and I want to like wrap that up nicely and everything like that. And I'm like, I think I also know that like as this is happening, Beata will continue to grow and find different ways to explore this, and she'll come back and challenge me in different ways, and we'll continue on to see where the journey goes. So I wanted to make sure I'm speaking that out in this moment. Philippa, what's been the single greatest insight that you've had based on any part of our conversation thus far, even before we even hit record?
I think it's about that. I felt like I was being coached. It's like, ooh, I needed to hear that. You know, this, who do I need to be to create this space so that, I think it was the, you know, you're doing stuff that you don't really want to do. You're not working on perhaps your zone of genius. You talked about your zone. And I'm definitely there, definitely struggling to, you know, doing lots of things, starting up a one-man business or one-woman business, and getting everything up and running, and doing everything, and actually realizing that I don't have the time. That's a stupid thing to say, because of course I'm just blaming it on time, which is not true. But there is something, I am not showing up. I am not creating that space for me. And that was my big insight.
Thank you, Philippa. I have to ask you a question here because it's now taking up a lot of space in my heart here. You said, and that was, you said something, and then you said, and that was stupid, and then you gave you rationalized it there. And the question that came to my mind right there was like, do you do that often?
Oh,
do you
yeah.
like do you like yeah, tell me, like is that clear what I'm talking about here? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I know what I'm doing is limiting me. You know, when you say, oh, I don't have time, it's like, oh, wait a minute, hang on, brain. You know, just that's not what you say. You know, take responsibility for the decisions and the choices you made, and don't go and blame it on time that's somewhere out there, which is not. So there is a sort of a lot of that going on in my head on a day-to-day basis as I work through and making sure that my brain, you know, I kick it into shape sometimes. You know, it's like, hello, you can't talk like that to me.
Got you. And I think if that's the case, if hello, you can't talk like that to me, I'm just going to invite you to really look at that from a place of like just 1% more whole around that, right? Just even that language choice of like of there. And I recognize it wasn't that you were looking at the action and not yourself. So I do catch that. But there are things we've had a number of conversations. I know what you've created out in the world, and I just get really interested in just seeing like what is a talk that we have, and what's the language that comes out there, even if it's not directed at self. I got curious here because I'm just like, oh, I wonder how that plays out. So thank you for bringing us here and letting us know like what the what's impacted you thus far. If we were going to have a life-changing conversation, because that was the prerequisite of today, if we were going to have a life-changing conversation, what would we need to talk about today, Philippa?
Where I'm stuck right now, which is my own creation, but I am still struggling with it. And I just want to say it out there in the world. You know, I can look powerful, but shit, pomfret, I can really struggle deep inside and have my days where I feel this big. And I, you know, the imposter syndrome sort of, you know, appears as this huge monster in front of me, and I get pretty scared. And I think I'm choosing a path right now, which is both scary and exciting for me. But the last few days, I've been siding on scary, which makes me think that a conversation, lifting that, looking at that, is going to help me get back into that sweet spot in the middle where it's exciting and whether it's and when it's scary. And it's struggling with those emotions and being kind of embarrassed about them and frustrated about them, going, this is, hello, again, this sort of like self-talk inside of me just doing its best to stop me from taking steps and moving, creating that free space that Beata wants. I can see myself doing it, and yeah.
What happens when you see yourself doing it? I'm like, you say things like, well, that was stupid. You're there's what's the energy like that? Like, tell me, like, when you see yourself moving either too scared or whatever, like, just tell me a little about that.
Okay, I can tell you about the feelings that I get, that I've been feeling, right? And it's like I get to the point where I suppose it's like a pressure building up, but in some ways I also feel that it's constricting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, I suppose it's like a part of me that is trying to get out, where there are other sides of me, the saboteurs or whatever you want to call them, that is the gremlins, the that are like chaining me in at the moment. And it gets to the point where, I have this sort of pressure in my breast and in my chest and in the sort of like, and almost a sort of feeling of suffocation. And it's like there's a part of me that is pushing me so hard, but kind of in the wrong direction. And there's the other side of me that can see me doing that and go, back here. And it's like trying to move this glacier as though it's, going back on track, or as though I would like to be able to lift this weight or clean up that mess. It's sort of get that obstacle out of my path, because I know it's temporary, because I've been there before. But I also, it frustrates me when I land there, because I'm like, so what did I do last time to actually get further on here? What was the trick? What was the
yeah.
Could I have that little golden sort of solution that I can just implement every time I feel like this?
Yeah. I like, thank you, Philippa. Like, you're describing these sensations, and I don't know about you, Beata, but I got like this sense of like, oh, there's a lot going on in Philippa's world. There, like you talked about, there's a pressure building. I could feel like a sense of like, oh, there's pressure around, and it feels almost like the pressure to have got to get it right. The pressure, like the thing that got me as you were talking, because I was also paying attention to my body as you were talking here. And it was like the pressure and the constriction, you know. You talked about like both of those feelings simultaneously. And what was getting to me was I'm like, oh, like, was that what I experienced? Did I experience her like having this immense, what makes her interesting is this immense positive energy, the fact that she has all this here, and was it was I in the process of seeing her constrict herself in that moment? Is that what stuck out to me? Because like I wasn't expecting to make any comments there, but intuitively it was like, oh, this is not something to just let it go. I question for you, like the sense that I get right now is that you talk about pressure and constricted and such. I think of like a plumbing system, and I think about like this plumbing system that's like, I want more. And it's like trying to like, it's like the pressure is building. It's starting like trying to blow up, go past the piping. And at the same time, it's like, no. And it's like being clogged and constricted. And there's like clamps that are all coming all over it. And it's like trying to find its way outwards.
Mm.
And the word unbridled came to mind, and as well as the word channeled. Like to be in the flow. I'm like, what if the things in my mind right now are just like, what if the constriction that you're adding to yourself is actually the thing that's adding the more pressure? And instead, if instead of constricting it, like, what would happen if you went the opposite direction? What if you just allowed it to? I don't know if it's the opposite, because the opposite is also true. So let's leave the opposite, but like cool. We see that you've been taking the path of constricting, right? And we see how it's serving you right now. What might be a path that might serve you even better than constricting yourself when these things come up?
Okay, as you were saying that, I was like, installing bigger pipes into the plumbing so I can get that energy going through.
Yeah.
But that was sort of my sense of humor.
And Philip, I'm going to invite you here to like just like speak to what's on the heart. When I know from you here, like I pay attention to when humor shows up for us, and it's especially us in our conversations, and I'm like, is that actually moving us forward, or is that actually disconnecting us from either the pain or whatever it is that we need to feel?
Yeah.
Like, so perhaps bigger pipes. Let's play this out a little bit here. Bigger pipes. Some of the things I think about are around like uh, electricity, and I'm trying to think about like the current that's there. Like, what are the various ways to get current to flow at a faster rate? In what direction does current flow? I don't know this here, but I'm thinking back to like simple setting up a battery and putting on a flashlight and a potato and things like that. But I'm thinking about like this idea of current. And I'm thinking about this from like internet, even, where I was upset with my internet provider, because I'm like, hey, I'm paying for this certain amount of speed, and I'm like, when I put it in the speed test, it's only giving me a third of that. And he's like, yes, this thing's capable of it, but if you want to get to that speed, you need to use a completely different cable, or you need to have a different router altogether. This router is not even capable of giving you those speeds. And I said, well, I want to go on to I want to like change my plan up because I'm paying for it and all this stuff. He's like, but hold on, wait a minute, because I could change you to another plan that brings you down and says, okay, you're only paying for the speed that you're going to, right? Constricted like to that that place. But what he said is, but what you don't know is that there's also this other thing called bandwidth, and it's almost like, imagine being on a highway, and if we constrict you down to that level of what your real speed is right now, yes, you will actually go even further down, because you've now gone from a 6-car highway to a 2-car highway. Same number of cars are trying to get through, but it's just less space, right? Yeah. So I'm bringing in all these things here just to play. There's no actual there yet, but I'm curious what comes to mind, and actually not what comes to mind. What comes up for you intuitively or on your heart? I know your mind is so powerful that I want to bypass it in this conversation.
And something was coming up when you were saying that, and it's like, it's about this more bandwidth, the bigger pipe. It's about allowing myself the space to be who I am and loving that person as they are every day. And you were saying at the beginning how sometimes you say words and you don't really own them, and therein lies the problem. I think to open up, give myself the space, and truly love who I am, how I'm showing up. It's this, the heart-head connection. That's that's the place I was feeling. And it's like, oh yeah, be more me, feel more me, feel more me. Because that, I think the power that I have inside of me and the power of my feelings is so strong that they can burst those pipes, and that's fine, because then I will have the space that I need, or I will fill that bandwidth that you have available and can't use at the moment. I will take that space to expand, feel more me.
You know, Philip, as you say this here, I'm with you. I'm also aware of time right now, so I'm like I can feel myself in two places. Um, Let me say this: it feels to me like when you talk about constricting, in my mind, I picture a traffic jam or a red light, you know, and it's like there's a flow that's going on, and you're like, well, hold on, and when you talk about like the allowing your power, the question in my mind is like, I wonder if that's what you're really afraid of. I wonder if that's where like the scared part is there, like because like that there's even more power that could be coming through. That really was playing in the back of my mind, as you said. I'll put it into this pool here, because if that's the place, like let's be with that raw power and then learn how we can continue to channel that as well. We'll build the infrastructure and structure to help make it a smooth place. But like I it's an incomplete conversation because I don't want to just say what if every light was green, but I do get kind of curious about that, and I see you being on this journey here, and I think that the things become, for me, it's a difference between constriction and channeling. It's like you have this raw, unbridled power, and then it's like, okay, and what like how do you want that power to flow? And like and how do we continue to allow that to take place so you don't have to hold it back in order to just like be able to be like, okay, now this is good enough, you know? So Philippa, I think there's more to explore, but I'm gonna leave it at this for now and be in this space of just playing with the idea of the bandwidth. I guess for like what's going on in my mind is like, okay, how do we channel what you're doing so that you can like harness that as opposed to bridle it? There's something different that's happening. I'm like, how do we ride that in a different way? So I'm going to bring us here to a close in this space. We'll close this off here. And look, I have time a little bit after this here, so I'm happy to spend like a few minutes afterwards and just kind of both wrap up loose ends, but also just be in space with both of you here. But we're going to close down the space for this particular resource here. I'd love to come back to you, Beata. I left you with an open question. I'm curious what has been your greatest insight, or what has that question led you to in this last minute here?
So the question was, who do I have to become to allow my free space? And I think I need to become someone who says it is enough and it was fine. It is enough, I think, for me. This is the question, the thing.
Thank you, Beata. And I want to keep exploring that. I'm like, I'm going to be in the practice of that with you, right? Like, let that sit and let that be enough. Philippa, Beata, I truly acknowledge you both here. Thank you for your time. Thank you for this conversation. Thank you for being open here with us here. And I'm looking forward to seeing how these conversations continue to evolve. Keep walking the uncharted path. And I acknowledge you for not settling. Cheers to each of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Niiamah here. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet, and then go ahead and leave one of your insights from today's video in the comments below. If you're looking to take this deeper, you can go and watch another video, or you can go to niiamah.com/tribe to get exclusive invitation to our tribe member only events. I'll see you soon.